How does a man fake that he's finished, other than rolling over and going to sleep? I've never had to fake him. I can have one at the drop of a hat, which makes trips to the haberdashers somewhat interesting. All the old lady's got to do is say, "Who's on Jimmy Kimmel tonight?" and I'm ready to have a cigarette. But I tend to get to the destination a little early, if you get my drift, sometimes in the driveway. A gal just looks at me cross-eyed and I need a pants mint. The article then goes on to suggest men masturbate to help them discover what stimulates them. I've never needed any encouragement in that department. I've been taking matters into my own hands since Benjamin Disraeli's Briss. Rockford, Illinois. Americans throw rice at weddings. Do the Japanese throw hot dogs? Your thoughts?
Up my tank in Conroe, Texas. My F-150.
Yep.
It's $70.
Good Lord.
You actually wrapped your claw around the nozzle and put it in the truck. Put it in the gas tank.
Yeah.
And filled it up.
Well, how else would I do it?
I just see you riding shotgun with the window rolled down, yelling at somebody else to do it for you.
Exactly.
No, you don't understand. I mean, that's the problem. You hang around Cavuto too much, and you just think that I'm not a real person. But I mean, I'm out there with my peeps doing the regular things.
Damn right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't get this trying to paint me as some kind of aloof elitist, which is just absurd.
A Tom Brady sob story.
Exactly.
No.
Me crying over being
Well, you'll
drafted
certainly
sick.
be yelling at somebody to hand you the antibacterial wipes to get the smell off your hands.
Dude, where do you put this nozzle? Wouldn't be the first time he answered that question, now that I think about it.
Oh, no, that's hurtful. That's ugly and that's hurtful.
At least this one went in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Imus in the morning.
All right. Georgette Jones is coming up. Who's Georgette Jones? Well, she's the daughter of Tammy Wynette and George Jones. And first, along with Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash, probably the first family of country music. And she's written a book called The Three of Us, growing up with Tammy and George. And, man, I mean, there's a bunch of country songs there. It's just, the whole thing. So. But she can sing herself, you know. My brother, who's on Outlaw Country, says she's too country for country. Today's country, you know, was a pansy singing country music. But I like some of them, no. But that's where Fred and I clash. And Fred's old school, and I'm willing to embrace people like Rehabilitation Hospital. Time for a Bernie briefing, sponsored by Planet Fitness. And here with that is Bernard McGurk. Morning, Bernie.
Morning, boss, from the Small Business Authority studios. And, former New York Governor Eliot Spitzer, he got steamrolled the hell out of CNN. Last night, ignominiously, was his last show. They just, in the middle of the week, boom, he's out. And he went off with some big lofty quote from Teddy Roosevelt. Take a listen.
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the...
Just get the hell out. What are you talking about?
So it is written, so it is done.
Oh, man. Never so few.
By the way, the most overused quote on the planet, right, Warner?
Oh, man.
Where's
Come
your
on.
Moses now?
How about Richard Nixon? You won't have Elliot to kick around anymore.
Come
Come
on, San Juan Hill.
Just get out.
The Rough Riders.
So they're going to replace him, believe it or not, with Anderson Cooper, a guy who he fails at 10 o'clock, this guy. Very nice man, Anderson Cooper. Very,
I like
very
Anderson
cute.
Cooper.
Yes, but so it's going to be Anderson Cooper going up against Bill O'Reilly. Good luck with that. And
the only time I ever see Anderson Cooper is occasionally on 60 Minutes. Isn't he on there once in a while?
he is there, yes, occasionally.
But I don't watch that very often either, so.
Right.
So I don't know how he is on CNN because I hate CNN. So.
Yeah, he's
I
very.
don't hate it. I just won't watch it.
He's serviceable at the very least, but he ain't
I
gonna.
watch Shep Smith. That's who I watch.
No
O'Reilly,
doubt.
that bunch.
No, sorry.
Hannity.
Do not go gentle into that good night.
Cavuto, I watch them.
It would've
That's who
been-
I like. I watch Martha McCallum, Jenna Lee, Dagan,
Oh, yeah.
all those people.
And I have hours to go before I sleep.
27 after the hour.
I did
Bernie
not have
continues.
sex with that woman.
Give me liberty or give me death.
Yeah, well,
You got
okay.
liberty, baby.
Yeah.
Plenty
Get
of
out.
it. And, juror number 3 last night has finally spoken out. She gave an interview to ABC News, did this Jennifer Ford. She was one of the actual jurors.
Yeah.
And she said, among other things, that there was not enough evidence. If you cannot prove what the crime was, you cannot determine what the punishment should be. But it was a very compelling interview with Terry Moran from ABC News. And here is part of it right here. Take a listen.
Duct tape on a baby in a bag rotting in the woods. Most people look at that, they put 2 and 2 together, they say that's a murder.
Well, in our country, unfortunately, we have to prove it. You can't just be like, yeah, that really looks bad. Smells bad, looks bad. I get that. It does. Smells bad, looks bad. I get that. But it's someone else's life, and if I'm wrong and I kill someone else, I can't live with that.
Pretty much summing it all up. But quickly, she said another thing.
She's a little cavalier about it, isn't she?
Not at all. Not if you saw the interview.
Okay.
She was very, very thoughtful about it.
He was pretty good. What's his name?
Terry Moran.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's great. Anyway, one more quick clip.
We hire him.
Take a
Get
listen.
him over here.
Here you go.
How much did the fact that this was a death penalty case weigh on you in the course of the trial and in your deliberations?
Well, it weighs heavily. It's pretty, it's the ultimate, like, it's as big as you can get. It's someone else's life in your hands. So if they want to charge and they want me to take someone's life, they have to prove it. You have to prove it, or else I'm a murderer too, and I'm not any better.
So there you go. Oh. Serious stuff. Now, they're going to sentence Casey today. It's supposed to take place. The proceedings begin at 9 o'clock, so it may very well happen while the Iron Man is on the air here. And, of course, we'll be all over it.
Wow. That's it. The judge makes her do the time. So everybody else says she walks, right?
That's correct.
Now, time for some business news. Thank you, Bernie. At 29 after the hour, just ahead of Georgette Jones, a slightly used woman, which could describe you, couldn't it? Dagan McDowell.
Sure.
Morning, Dagan.
Good morning, sir. Thank you. And thank you for putting the modifier on there slightly used, not fully, totally used. Right. I appreciate that.
Well, that's the name of Georgette's album, A Slightly Used Woman.
Right. Great. Thank you. Hey,
stop moving your mic, Don, while you're talking to Dagan. Could you do that? Yes, I will.
Yeah, okay. Put your listening ears on, in the words of Judge Judy. Shut them all. I got some news.
So here's the problem I'm having. I got to get a hair. My hair is way too long. And I've got to get a haircut.
Oh, great.
And you're flying the hairdresser out there, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Pulse. I bet
flying
you are.
What?
I know you've flown that woman out there to cut your hair before.
Even worse, it's a guy.
Handsome?
Yes. So how are you going to get your hair cut?
I'm not anywhere, but I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to murder somebody.
You're not going to do that, are you? No.
You're going to be doing a show by yourself, the 11 o'clock show. Well, I told somebody something in strict confidence, and what happened?
They
blabbed their mouth. And of course, you're the last person to tell anything.
That is not true. That's not.
Of course it is true.
No, it's not true.
You are lying skunk.
No, it's not true.
Where did you get that? By the way, erroneous information.
Erroneous information. Yes, Dagan.
What
where
about
did you get that?
Flying? You've told me that before. You forgetful old coot. You've told me that repeatedly.
That'll be fine.
The woman who cuts your hair here in New York City. I said, "What are you going to do about your hair when you're at the ranch? Because it's getting a little long, like, a baseball player from the 70s.
Yeah.
And you said you fly her out there to cut your hair during the summer.
And I must have been drunk when I told you that.
And I
Shut
told you
up,
to
Bernard.
stock up on your pantyhose, too, you big woman.
Started yet, but don't
Only
worry.
Dagan would catch on to this and get me. This is just this has to be some sort of a setup.
Connell didn't tell me that. Connell did not tell me
well,
that.
Do you have
told
any
me
business news?
Yes.
Okay, what would it be?
Ridiculous.
We'll call you Mildred from now on. I got 3 pieces of business news.
Well, did you call me an old coot, by the way?
Yes.
That really hurts my feelings, but that's fine. So, I'll just sit here and battle cancer while you call me names, but go ahead.
With my long hair.
By the way, the doctor at the ranch, he examined me yesterday. They all come out here, and they look at me and just see that I'm having difficulty breathing. And so I say, well, I see... some of the finest people in the world, Richard Mathane, people like that, and Ron McKenzie, and they're going to. He said, well, you have a little wheezing. I said, yeah, I have emphysema. Well, you ever tried this? And of course, God.
So
they mean
annoying.
well, but
How do you handle all that?
I don't know. It's just like,
so
well,
much.
now we're cutting into Georgette's time here. So yeah. We don't have any time for business. Did you
well,
have
I'm
any,
gonna
by the
give
way?
Yes, quickly. The
Hurry
Apple's
up.
new iPhone could be out by the end of September. Thinner, lighter, better camera.
I got my new
Facebook.
iPad yesterday, by the way.
Really?
I dropped my other one.
I'm so excited. Oh, by the way, maybe you can join Facebook. That's my next story, because we can video chat with each other if you're one of the 750 million members of Facebook. Skype is now integrated in it, so I can actually see you. Hey, I can watch you get your hair cut. Pretty little boy.
Great.
You know that you are going to pay for this big time. You, Bigfoot, Fat Kevin, everybody's going to pay for this. Program. Let's get right to it now. Please welcome to the Imus Morning Program, Georgette Jones. Her new book is called The Three of Us, Growing Up with Tammy and George. Good morning, Miss Jones.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Fine, baby. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks.
I was looking at your 5 favorite songs. I don't see any of your dad's on here.
No, I'm actually a big fan of my dad's. I'm not going to say that I'm not, but as far as top 5, I'd put a couple of his in the top 10, but only one of my mom's even made the top 5. I know that sounds bad, but being honest about the music that I love, the one song of my mom's is Till I Can Make It on My Own.
That's a good record, yeah. So.
Oh, thank you.
Well, man, this story reads like, your worst kind of reality show. So what's your first memory of your parents?
Well, I remember a lot of being backstage. The Opry was kind of like our other home. We stayed there an awful lot, and a lot of people ask me what that was like. And I guess for me, going to the Opry was kind of like going to the office with somebody else who was a businessman or a secretary. So that was just normal for us. And but looking back on it now, I mean, it's wonderful memories that I'm glad that I have.
How old were you when they got divorced?
Only 4. I was 4 years old.
Oh, okay. So now what kind of relationship did you have with them after that?
Well, I really didn't have much of a relationship at all with my dad. After the divorce, we saw each other probably 2 or 3 times a year for many years. And I think really he tried to shelter me from his lifestyle and a lot of what he was going through at that time. And as I became a teenager, I guess I got a little bit more rebellious myself and angry that we didn't have a relationship, and that made things worse. So it wasn't until my mom passed away, and he was there for me when I needed him the very most, and we started mending our relationship, and now we have a very good one.
Did he or your mother ever talk to you about other country singers they liked or disliked? Or?
Yeah, I mean, really, they never had anything negative to say about anyone. I don't remember anything really that stands out negative, but they had some great friends. My dad was very close to Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings, and my mom, of course, was very good friends with Loretta Lynn and Dolly and Barbara Mandrell. So there are lots of people that I remember in my childhood very fondly, good memories of them sitting around the dinner table eating with us. And so they had a lot of really good friends. They were a close-knit country family back then.
Who does your dad think is great?
Who does he think was great?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, Johnny Cash really was his closest friend probably for a long time. They had a wonderful relationship. In fact, my dad's favorite picture that he has in his house that he has framed is a picture that he had taken just a few days before Johnny passed away with them together at his home. And so he has very good memories of Johnny.
You're talking with Georgette Jones. Her new book is called The Three of Us, Growing Up with Tammy and George. Georgette, of course, is a country singer herself. My brother does outlaw country on Sirius Satellite Radio. He likes you. He said, but she's too country for country.
Well, that's the truth. Hate to say that today, but unless you're pop with a banjo on it, it's not country anymore. So,
yeah.
But I just love to sing what I do, and it may not be on all the big country radio stations right now, but I'm getting to enjoy my dream and have fun with that anyway, and make the music that I want to. So,
Gotta be pretty brave to be the daughter of those two people and want to go sing yourself, So.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I didn't do it for a long time for that reason. I was actually a full-time registered nurse for 17 years before I decided to take the plunge. But I've always loved music. I've always written music, and I didn't want to look back one day and wonder what if. So a couple of years ago, I had an opportunity to go to Ireland and tour, and I did that. And while I was there, I met the head of Heart of Texas Records, and he offered me a record deal with the label there in Texas. So that's why he knows about me at Outlaw Country. We have a lot of the Texas music is played there.
A Slightly Used Woman, where's that title come from?
My mom actually wrote that song in the early 1980s, and it's a description of the house that I grew up in Franklin Road in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was a song that, unfortunately, I guess, as I got older, I related to an awful lot, and I always wanted to record it. So I was lucky enough that Tracy at the label loved the song as much as I did and let me use that as the title track to my first CD.
Back to your dad for a second. One time I was talking with Harry Connick Jr., who was a child prodigy and is a genius, I think.
Oh, well, he is, absolutely.
Yeah. And he said, we were talking about your dad, and I'm just talking about singers. He said, if you put 10 people on a stage and had them all sing the same verse to a song, everybody would pick George Jones. And I said, you mean Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles? People like that? He says, yeah.
You know, my dad feels the same way about Harry. He loves his music, and he actually had him on a couple of projects with him, and he really is a nice guy, and we love his music an awful lot. I've not actually been able to meet him. The one project my dad did with him, he had to pre-tape, but I love him. I'm a big fan.
But that's saying a lot about, I mean, Ray Charles was pretty good. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Sinatra, but the dude could sing, you know. So.
Absolutely.
That's saying a lot about George Jones. So.
Definitely.
One time I was talking to your dad. He wrote a book one time. I forget what it was called.
I Live to Tell It All.
Yeah. And he wrote in there about running into Porter Wagner in the restroom at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yes.
And are you familiar with the story? Or?
Actually, I'm not. To be honest with you, I only read part of my dad's book. I didn't even read all of my mom's book on purpose because there's lots of things in there that upset me one way or the other. You know, when people get a divorce, you know, and them being my parents, I really didn't want to know all the gory details. So I just kind of separated myself from as much as I could, just to be honest about it.
Yeah, this is probably, I'm sitting there thinking about it, and there's no, as long as you don't know about it, there's no reason to tell me about it. So, but it was just, I did say to George, I said, I don't believe I'd have told that. And he said, well, it happened. So I said,
well, he's brutally honest about everything, which is, and I think that's a great thing.
He was mad at Porter about something. I think whether Porter was hitting on Tammy or somebody. So, anyway. Well, how's he doing now, George?
He's doing great. He'll be 80
Stopped
in
drinking and
September.
all that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did 12 years ago. He quit drinking and smoking all at the same time, and he's very healthy. He's doing really well, and he's very active and busy. He still tours about 60 to 70 dates a year, and he really is doing quite well.
How's he feel about your book?
He's actually happy about it. You know, I'm sure he was probably at first not really sure, you know, what to think, what I was going to write. But I promised him that I'd give him a copy first before we did anything else with it. And he and Nancy, my stepmom, got the book when we first got the first copy, and they read it and called me and told me that they really liked it and that they were really happy about it. So
she's been good for him, hasn't she?
She's been excellent for him. I mean, I can't imagine him trying to live without her. She's absolutely a saint. She loves him.
Well, you seem like you're okay now, so.
Yeah, I think I'm in a good place. You know, I'm happier than I've ever been, and you know, doing what I love to do. So I couldn't be happier.
Weathered the storm, and
absolutely, I made it through all the hard stuff. So
yeah, so
I'm happy.
And you feel good about the book?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And the main reason why I wanted to write it, I never in a million years thought I'd write a book. But you know, to be honest, I read a book about a year and a half ago that was written about my mom, and the first 90 pages I made it through until I had to put it aside because it just was painting a picture of my mom that was not the woman that I knew. And that's really kind of what started the whole process. I wanted people to know both my mom and my dad the way I knew them, not just them as artists and what the media had said about them in the past. And so that's really where I am now. I'm glad that we finished it. It was a fun project to do. It was difficult at times, but I was very honest in the book, and hopefully people will enjoy it.
Well, get all this stuff off your chest and go on and live your own life. You know?
Exactly.
So, well, two of the great figures in the history of country music, and getting a real story from you, so I can't imagine that it won't be an enormous success. I hope it is for you.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much for coming in on the program. And Fred Imus, he'll be playing your songs on Outlaw Country. You can count on that.
Please thank him for me.
Anyway, thank you very much, Georgette.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Coming up, Rob and Tony will pretend to be people, and I don't know who they're going to pretend to be. So. All right, 6 minutes till the hour here in the Imus Morning program. Please welcome now to the program, Gangster Mickey. Good morning, gang.
Yo, dog, I got mad respect for Obama's Twitter town hall. It takes a strong man to put himself in that vulnerable position. It's much easier for peeps to tell you you suck than it is to defend yourself in under 140 characters. I love me some Twitter, son. I follow at Winnie the Pooh. Bear tweets all this nasty stuff about Christopher Robin being in the 100-acre closet. It's hilarious. And that Snow White, girl, wait till them dwarves go to work at the mine, then tweets naked pictures of herself laying across them 7 little bears. Oh, boy. I decided to tweet my own town hall meeting, but when I signed up for a dress, at Gangster Mickey already taken. Some Polish cat in the Milwaukee Mafia. So you want to ask Eminem a question, you got to tweet me at Uncle Walt's Frozen Head. Hashtag Disney Player. Oh, and here they come. Damn, dog, my timeline is jamming with questions, but I can't answer them. These big-ass four-fingered hands, too big to text. Ain't that a bitch?
Imus in the morning.
I don't know. It's just stupid. Okay, you think you could have possibly been ready to do that?
What do you mean? What? I gotta wait for them to put it up on the screen?
Well, you wrote it.
I understand that, but that wasn't the order that they were on the thing. They pop it up. It's all good.
How do you appear in all these Broadway shows? Don't you have to memorize the stuff?
Well, oh, yeah. So I'm gonna be memorizing this stuff every morning.
And what happened to that movie you were going to be in?
I did it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Well, I thought you had to take off some time.
Well, it turned out I didn't have to. Isn't that good?
All good.
It was all
it was
good.
great you were
It was
here.
all good.
Yeah.
I was here so that we could have these warm moments together. I love these special times that you and I have of, just being here, basking in your glory. I'm high right now. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, yeah, you got to be. So, man.
Smoking some chronic, yo.
So, Rangel was supposed to be on today, Tony, but I don't know what happened. So,
perhaps he got lost, Imus.
Perhaps he had to meet another associate in the parking garage someplace to get another bag of money. So
no, actually, we do that in the Dominican Republic. It's much easier, and there's no chance of being caught.
Yeah. So. Well, anyway. Please welcome now to the program, Congressman Charles Rangel. Good morning, Congressman Rangel.
Good morning, Imus. Imus, there's no rehab for Casey Anthony trial withdrawal. This trial was like crack. You sit there watching it, telling yourself, that's it, just 5 more minutes, and I'm out. 3 days later, there you are in front of the TV, unwashed, unshaven, channel surfing for trial news. You offer to do unsavory things with local reporters just to get an update. Hey there, handsome. Give me a little Anthony info and I'll rock your socks. I'll make it worth your while. I'm a bad man, you know. My cell phone number is Pi. I'm the reason nightmares sleep with a nightlight. Evel Knievel, please. I jumped 12 buses on a big wheel. Silly prosecutors. Jesus, you had pictures of her dancing on top of a bar, shotgun and a brew. What happened?
Ladies and gentlemen, Imus in the morning.
It's 5 minutes after the hour here in the Imus in the Morning program on the radio around the country, on the Fox Business Network all over the world. Well, I kind of liked old Georgette Jones, didn't you, Connell?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you guys didn't get to meet her, but in a different studio. But she seemed nice, didn't she?
Yeah,
Very
she's
sweet.
a very nice person.
The story, of course, I had the good sense not to tell her.
Wow, the filter.
Was when her father wrote his book, George Jones, he was torqued off at Porter Wagner about something. Well, apparently Porter Wagner had been fooling around with George's wife, and I guess it was Tammy, or trying to fool around with something. And so he caught him in the restroom at the Grand Ole Opry and went in and grabbed, and he was at the urinal. He wrote about it in his book. Went in and grabbed him by the wiener and was dragging him all over the restaurant.
Oh, no.
I said I'm sorry. Let go.
You were actually going to tell that story to his daughter?
Why did you leave it out?
Well, no, I didn't tell.
No, but you started to. You was going to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, I was, but I didn't. That's the point.
Are you crazy?
Well, no, well, yeah, a little.
Hey,
but-
Georgette, do you ever remember that story when your daddy was walking, wagged around by his penis?
No, well, no.
Good times. I mean,
No, no. I decided, Gangster Mickey, not to tell her that.
Yeah.
So don't you think that was good, Malou, for example?
I think that's progress.
Totally.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Huge.
But you had planned to tell her that,
Right, exactly.
And when she sheepishly said, "No, I don't want to hear,"
No.
then and only then.
Well, you probably couldn't wait to tell it as soon as she was gone, too.
Baby steps, Bernie. Baby steps.
I hadn't
That is
planned on
progress.
anything. I didn't plan the interview even.
Oh, I'll bring up that penis story with her dad. I'll show this woman.
Yeah.
No.
Has it on his list and crossed
I
it
didn't
out.
even think about the interview until I walked in the studio this morning and sat down here.
I won't tell the wiener thing. I'll cross that out.
Well, you guys are
Dad
trying to
grabs guy and
portray
urinal.
me as being irresponsible. And
So what other ugliness happened with your dad?
Cross that off.
It's 7 minutes after the hour. Here on
what do
the-
you think? Should I do the...
So your mom was a slut, and your dad was about half hour, you know what, in the bathroom,
Here's what I'm gonna do.
and a drunk.
I'm gonna say, your
7
dad liked
minutes
to drink a lot, didn't he? And
Well, she wrote about it. Her mom addicted to painkillers. I didn't get into all that. So.
How do you feel about your dad being dragged around by his wiener?
Well, no, it wasn't his dad. It was Porter Wagner.
The other way around.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
he
Well,
was
then you
the-
should have told it then.
Who's pulling
He was the wiener dragger.
I can't wait for Wyatt Imus to be interviewed in the future about his father.
It's 8 minutes
Is it
after the
true,
hour.
Wyatt, that your father peed in a phone booth?
That's
Wyatt,
fine,
is it
Mr.
true
Cosby.
that your father once dated a man that he thought was a woman?
It's 8 minutes after the hour here on the Imus in the
Your
Morning
thoughts?
program. Martha McCallum is coming.
Hours away. I'm not sure, I was actually going to go with you, though. She gets a little bit of time, but
What do you think, Dagan?
Walking. She's
Okay.
going home.
Yeah, she's getting her
If
nails
she
done.
has a home.
seems like the conventional wisdom, yeah.
Warner?
Well, I think she will get some time, but I hope the judge, it's not a reaction to the fact that, well, we let's appease everybody and give her the time here.
Oh, I see. What do you think, Lou?
She'll be out by Saturday.
Saturday.
No, she's there.
Bernie?
They'll just release her.
I think she's getting her nails done by 3 o'clock this afternoon.
No, you do.
And her hair blown out. Yes.
All right,
Just
call
like
continues.
Just like the I-Man. Now, President Obama is sitting down with...
What did you just say?
Nothing. Don't worry.
Don't say nothing.
Depends
you
on where
obviously
it
just
is.
said something.
Getting
That's some
your
kind of
nail.
hair reference.
Well,
You and Dagan are going down. I'm going to tell you that now.
No. That
Oh,
was
okay.
not, by the way. I did not give away your secrets about how you get your
How
hair
are you
done.
bastards? How are you two doing before I came to Fox? Well, you weren't doing great. I'll tell you that.
We're very
You weren't
thankful.
household names like you are now.
We're very
You
thankful
didn't have
to
your own show before I came to Fox.
very
I made
thankful to
stars
you.
out of you two losers. and now what kind of thanks am I getting? It's crowded under the bus here, by the way. Of course, it's a little difficult under the bus to fight cancer, as I'm doing.
Right.
But don't you two worry about it.
And it's dangerous because your skirt could get hung up in the wheels of the bus.
Shut up and leave me alone.
There you go.
Kyle continues.
Latest on the debt talks, maybe some progress being made. The president will sit down with congressional leaders this morning at the White House, take another stab at reducing the country's deficit. In terms of progress, the House Majority Leader Eric Cantor on the Republican side saying he's at least willing to talk about tax loopholes. The Democrats have been pushing for that. And the president talking during his, remember, he had that Twitter town hall yesterday at the White House. He's talked about saying he wants to cut deficits by $4 trillion over 10 years, which is about double the target he had been talking about here in recent weeks. So maybe signs that the two sides are coming together a little bit. The talks continue today at the White House. Now, what do you think of this story, I-Man? Airlines are being warned by the government that terrorists are considering surgically hiding bombs inside of humans in order to evade airport security. There's a memo sent out by the FBI and Homeland Security that security officials around the country on Wednesday, this is about what they call body packing, a criminal tactic, possible terrorist application. Back in 2005, Colombian men accused of surgically implanting narcotics into human couriers.
That's real commitment. It's on their part, so. Got to hand them that.
There you go. Seeing the story.
Any way to detect this?
In a different side of it. Well, that's well, I guess with the full invasive body. Well, you look inside with these scans now. You can see inside.
Yeah.
So if you scan the right people that have had something surgically implanted, then I guess you could detect it. So that's what they're telling people to, or they're going to be subjecting more people. The thinking is to these types of what some would describe as invasive searches because of this issue.
Do you have the option, by the way, of either a pat down or the full body scan?
I believe you do, don't you?
Do you, Bernie?
Yes, you do. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So then, if you
they could opt for the full pat down just to avoid that, right?
Right, and then they wouldn't see it, or maybe you'd feel.
Well, I originally thought this was a cool idea, but I don't know whether it is or not.
I brought it up again this hour to see whether your thinking had evolved on it.
Yes, I know why you brought it up. So because you realized I wasn't awake at 4 o'clock in the morning out here
when you called.
So you thought, well, you and Dagan have gone out of your way to try to screw the I-Man, which is fine, I guess. But
yeah, come on, Dagan.
So, whatever.
Defense
it's quarter
lawyers.
after the hour. Are you quite done with your version of the news?
Yeah, I'll just say that DSK, they had a pretty good meeting, the defense lawyers, they say, with the prosecutors. But the lawyer for the hotel maid in that case, she's now asking for a special prosecutor to be appointed, or the lawyer is, Kenneth Thompson, because he says the Manhattan DA's office and Cyrus Vance, that they should recuse themselves, the office should, and appoint a special prosecutor because they believe that Vance's office is behind some of the leaks in the case. But his office called that meritless.
All right, 16 after. Going over the emails that Carley's going to read. It's got to kind of. We have several emails about Anastasia Nicolasi, who was on yesterday. And you guys got to calm down. She's not going to. She's not going to go out with you. So just relax. Diane, she's not going to go out with you. Maria, she's not going to go out with you. Dagan, are you going to go out with him, Dagan? No. So Carley has a boyfriend. She's not going out with you. Stop it. Just calm down.
Enough.
I mean,
Or we'll send your mother down to your basement and take your computer away from you.
Yes, I mean, this is just. Oh my God! You guys got to calm me. I'm telling.
Hi, it's Paul in Kansas. I really love Dagan.
Oh man, you have no idea the stuff we get. Time for some emails with Carly Shemkus. Good morning, Carly.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I have an email here from Ed from North Carolina.
Ed, North Carolina.
Ed writes in and says, if Dagan ever wants to leave Rollo, I'd like to be considered for replacement status. I have a double wide in Hickory, North Carolina, a pantry filled with moon pies, PBRs, Skol, and spray cheese, and I almost have all my teeth. I'll treat you good, girl. Call me.
Wow.
What's that sound, Dagan?
He sounds like he's related to me first and foremost, so I got to be worried about that.
Sounds like Fred Imus.
That would fit right in then if he's related to you.
Exactly.
So, did you just say exactly, Connell?
No.
What else, Carly?
All right. Tim from Minnesota says, morning, Don. I have been out of the loop for a while because I haven't had access to your program, but I am a longtime viewer. The reason I am emailing is because I was wondering what happened to your longtime sidekick, Bernard. He was always good at bringing you back on track. I enjoyed his professionalism. Anyway, good luck and keep it up. You're a good buckaroo.
Okay. Long-time fan. Clearly.
Yeah, just,
poor Bernie.
Well, no, I don't know whatever happened to Bernard. What's this guy's name, Carly?
Tom from Minnesota.
No, Tom. No, Tom, I don't know. We haven't heard from Bernard in a while.
It's okay. Wipe your chin, Tom. It's all good.
Hoping he comes back soon.
It is
One
sad.
more, Carly.
Very sad.
All right, this last one. Bob from New Jersey writes in and simply says, Whitey Bulger sounds like Anthony Weiner's screen name. So
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Leave the jokes to Rob and Tony and Lou and Bernie and even Warner. So. Sponsored by Planet Fitness. And here with that is Bernard McCurk. Morning, Bernard.
Good morning, Chief. One of the funniest shows on TV returns Sunday night to HBO. LD and the gang. Curb Your Enthusiasm, baby. Bring it on. Anyway, part of the cast, they were down at the New York Stock Exchange on the floor, and they appeared with Stuart Varney yesterday on the Fox Business Network. And it was pretty funny. It's Fat Jeff Garland and his wife. He plays Larry's agent, and she's the wife who's cursing all the time at everybody. Anyway, it went like this.
Here's my story. I think that part of the success of your show
What
is
is that
essentially...
phony accent you have?
Don't attack me right from the get-go. Let me get my question out here.
Susie.
Okay, yes.
Go
What's
Susie.
I think part of your success is foul language. Am I right?
No, I don't think so, Stuart.
Are you going to tone it down at all in the 8th season?
I don't think it's the language that's the success. I think it's the level of anger that's the success. Jeff, Stuart just said, Jeff can't hear you, that he thinks the success of the show is the language. I don't think so. What do you think?
I think it's the language.
Then it got a little ugly. Listen, look, it got a little ugly. Listen.
All right.
Well, look, thanks very much indeed, Susie Essman and Jeff Garland. You were good sports with us, and we really appreciate you being on the show. Thank you very much.
Our pleasure.
Good luck,
Hold on.
man.
Wait 1 second. I just want to say I think Fox needs to spend money so people don't have to share a microphone and more than one person can hear you. You think I'm coming back on this crappy-ass show?
Jeff Garland and Susie Essman.
Not a bad point there. So,
well, they were on the floor of the stock exchange.
That was tough to us. Well, some more of that's coming up with Barney & Company.
No, it was funny. It was very funny. Maybe not so funny.
It was tedious.
It was tedious. It was awful.
No, it wasn't funny. It was cringe time.
I mean, where's Larry David?
So why do you want to? We like Stuart Varney. Why are you trying to embarrass him? That was horrible. Do you have anything else?
Yes, I do. Juror number
not sabotaging somebody who we work with.
That's a nice spin. I like that. Juror number 3. She appeared on ABC News last night with what's his name? Terry Moran. Excuse me. Yeah. Anyway, she spoke out yesterday, and she said she said a lot of things, but he asked her how she sleeps at night. Take a listen.
How emotional was it to be a juror in this case?
I mean, there were quite a few people when we got back after the verdict was read. We were in tears.
Why were you crying after you handed down a not guilty verdict on murder?
Not guilty doesn't mean innocent. It doesn't mean innocent.
How do you feel about that you may have let a woman who murdered her own daughter walk off that charge?
It doesn't feel good. It was a horrible decision to have to make, but I had to do it based on the law.
Bottom line.
There's a problem I have with questions like that. How emotional was it? Well, how do you know it was emotional to start with?
Well,
why not ask that?
They had, during the course of the interview, it came out that they were crying, and so that's what he
Tedious. This could be the all-time worst Bernie briefing ever.
Wow. What?
Sabotaging our friend Bernie, and then trying to make Terry look horrible. This is Stuart. I mean,
right?
This is unfortunate.
Whatever happened to Bernard?
All right, it's time. God, you were great yesterday filling in for Joe Crummy,
he
but
went
this
down to
morning,
Springfield, I think.
Man, this is just not good. We had the Bernie briefing.
Still haven't heard from
Time
Bernard.
for some business news. Name of that is Dagan McDowell. Morning, Dagan.
Good morning, sir.
What the hell do you want?
I'm not worried about losing my job because you've got nobody else on this staff that you can trade beauty tips with.
Jerk. I hate you. You have the level of my hatred for you is just, well, you can't assess it. So
well,
anyway,
listen up because this will blow your skirt up.
All right.
The music business is rebounding big time this year. After years of declines, sales of recorded music are up. If you look at overall music sales, this is albums, singles, music videos, digital, and hard copies. They're up 8.5% in the first half of this year. There are multiple reasons. You've got more ways to buy digital music. You've got shows like Glee that are getting people to buy instantaneously after hearing a song. And then my girl, Adele, best-selling album of the year so far, 21, and it's an album that everybody can love. Better than Lady Gaga. She's outselling even Gaga.
So that's your current fave?
She's awesome, and I told you to listen to the album, and you didn't do it. Everybody in the studios heard it.
This portion of the I'm Swaying program is sponsored by Burke Rehab Hospital, something you might want to look into, Dagan. 33 after the hour. Please welcome now, once again, Larry King. Morning, Larry.
Morning. So Daniel Radcliffe's revealed that he's had a battle with the bottle. Well, if I was making $2 off every pair of Harry Potter underoos that had my face on it, I'd never be sober. Hell, I'd be drunk now. If you're worth more than the gross national product of a small Slavic nation before you hit the age of 20, why would you ever want to stop celebrating? But I guess when you're a young celebrity, you don't have any street cred unless you've got either substance abuse issues or a sex tape. And seeing as how the kid's Billy Barty short, he probably doesn't have a Milton Berle schmeckle. So the chances of there being a Harry's Magic Wand video circulating the internet are pretty slim. Although, if you're worth more than the gross national product of an Eastern European fiefdom, I'm sure it's not that hard to get some hot guy
Good
for
morning,
your
sir.
handball.
It is all about jobs this
Arkansas.
week. Tomorrow we get the critical June jobs report. In a minute, we're going to find out how many people file for unemployment benefits for the first time in the latest week. And we just found out from ADP, that payroll processing company, that last month that private industry, private companies created 157,000 jobs, and that was way better than people expected. So there's good news in that number. It was more than double expectations. And then, of course, in about half a minute, we're going to discover how many people are still lining up for unemployment benefits.
Hang on a second. I heard from Joe Beaver a while. Yeah. He said he told Mason to call Donnie.
Oh, yeah. Donnie told me that last night. He's dropping off the 8 more cabs
Okay.
on Thursday.
He knew that already.
The calves are too big for Wyatt to flank now. So, because we feed them, they get bigger, and then he can't flop them over in time. So, we get new calves.
Just like being married.
wife gets too big. So, well, Dagan, you're looking pretty good now. So, if I may say that. So. You were number 2 on the hot list. You know about that, right?
Yes, thank you for reminding me that. Another number, 418,000 people filed for unemployment benefits for the first time last week.
Great.
Wow.
What
Lamb.
now?
We got a situation.
I don't know what is going on right
Did
now.
I spilled coffee. I tried to put it in a waste can. Maybe move the waste can.
This is a developing story.
You didn't want to
all
know
over.
that.
Oh, man, what a mess.
He
Glenn, I'm sorry.
snagged his pantyhose, and he's got to run in them.
Are we sure it's coffee?
This is live breaking coverage of the jobless claims figures.
Did you just say snag my pantyhose?
On the Imus reporting program.
Yes, I said that.
Coming up later today, we'll have live coverage of the
You're
Casey Anthony sentencing.
a horrid person.
You were talking about Joe Beaver. I was just hoping he was there, not teaching Wyatt how to rope calves, but teaching you how to be a man.
Well, he'll be back the end of July. Maybe he can get to that then.
You won't hear this anywhere else.
In the meantime, your hair is going to grow out, and you're going to look a little more like B. Arthur.
Like Mark the Bird Fidrich.
You've really gotten emboldened since I've come out west here, haven't you?
Bring it back east, baby. Bring that bag of bones back east and see what you can do.
Thank you for being a friend.
You are such a jerk. You've actually hurt my feelings now. It's coming up on 32. I'm glad that Martha McCallum doesn't watch you and Numbnuts. She's watching Regis and whatever, Kathy Lee or whatever her name is.
Who hadn't been on the air for 20 years.
Well, whatever. Because I don't watch them. It's 32 minutes after the hour.